What's going on, everyone? My name is Anthony Fuller. I'm a relational intelligence coach who sometimes has some jewels to drop. And over the course of the next few videos, I'll be doing just that. I want to welcome you into a series I've entitled Dear Sis, S.Y.S.S, where I'll be talking about how to steward your season of singleness. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because the success of most things is largely dependent on your ability to steward them well, which means your ability to manage, your ability to look after and over a thing. Let's look at the inverse. If you're not a good steward of your time at work, what happens? You get fired. If you're not a good steward of your money, you go broke. If you're not a good steward of your resources, you run out. So stewardship is an important aspect to making anything you have successful and sustainably successful. So the million-dollar question is, how is this relevant to relationships and singleness? Well, if you're not a good manager of, let's say, your emotions after a breakup, or you've gone multiple months or years poorly managing the loneliness you've experienced with unhealthy ways of coping, or you don't look after your own well-being as much, but maybe you're infatuated with how you can shapeshift and mold yourself into what others are looking for, and you no longer have a sense of boundaries. And your end result is going to be more of the same, still being single, still getting in those relationships where it's a different person, but it's all the same. So what if we can focus your attention to stewarding the hidden details of what comes up when you're single and you're not dating or in a relationship, and you actually have the time and the space to reflect? And by hidden, I mean the seemingly insignificant things, the subtle things, the things that on a day-to-day basis you are just not considering to be an issue. If we were able to identify those things and steward those things well, maybe things take a turn for the better. One could hope, right? Well, let's find out. I hope you enjoy the videos. When you consider what's necessary to step into a new season of relationships, it's typically offered to people to rebrand how you're presenting yourself to the world to potential suitors. Now, that's a great step. In fact, it's one of the things we'll be touching on throughout the series. The error that the majority of people run into when doing this, however, is that they've made this their first step. They're just rebranding, which by definition is to simply change the image or design of an already established brand. So you'd be spending countless amounts of time and money getting a new wardrobe, new hair, new lashes, new whatever, to change the exterior image of you without a tandem focus on the upgrade of the interior experience and establishing something new there to match your new look. Now, I get it. Look good, feel good. And that's great when you want to attract the attention of the person that you want. But that's the short-term game that anyone can play. As people, we initially develop interest by sight. And if you notice within societal norms of dating today, there's such an intense focus on garnering someone else's attention and keeping their attention. I mean, YouTube is flooded with videos about how to make him or her obsessed with you. Isn't that crazy? I mean, these are things that have their own place and their own currency, but attention mostly provides the opportunity for connection and engagement. That attention isn't the sustaining power, nor can attention alone produce your desired outcome of a good and healthy relationship that you say that you want. And here's the thing, more times than not, when said person does get involved with someone romantically, but they haven't done any internal work, just the aesthetic rebrand, most of their emotional deficits, their baggage, their insecurities, whatever hurt they've encountered, without a doubt, resurfaces over time. And then it becomes difficult to manage the new image that the rebrand presents with their actual current state of emotional conflict. See, that's the short-term game that inevitably brings you back to square one. So instead of putting a premium on over attempts of attention just to entertain a quantity of suitors, what's going to make you stand out and produce quality? I want to introduce you to the long-term game, a game of sustainability, a game of internal focus where the attention you seek is directed towards yourself. I'm going to give you one of the most simplistic steps in theory, but often one of the most challenging and confronting to execute. Are you ready? The first step is your opportunity to complete your past before a new season and a new chapter can be established in your life. Now, this is exciting news, right? A new season awaits you. You just can't step into this new season without first renouncing and relinquishing ties to the old season. I mean, think about it. How can you expect to behold and appreciate something new in the constant presence and environment of what is old? It'll be challenging, right? And what do people want to avoid the most? Pain, and challenges. So we stubbornly stick to what we know, and oftentimes stick with who we know because it's comfortable. We stay in the same environment because, well, we laid foundation here. We put roots down here, right? I'll give it to you another way. Let's say you were told there was gold in your backyard, and it's just in this general area right here. What do? Well, you get your shovel, right? And you start digging a hole in the ground. You're going for it. Let's say you get a foot deep. Okay, nothing yet. You keep going, 4 to 5 feet in, still nothing. At this point, you're standing in the hole and you're still digging, although it's not working and you haven't struck gold yet. And your arms hurt and you've exhausted yourself and you start thinking, is it worth it? And then you remind yourself, it's gold. Of course it's worth it. All right, I'll just keep going. And you keep digging and you've dug yourself into a hole so far down that it seems nearly impossible to get back to the top and back to that same feeling of excitement of being the person who was first told there was gold in the ground to begin with. And I say that to say that sometimes we're so committed to where and how we've started something that starting over or trying again seems too difficult, or simply coming out of the hole to get a new perspective may seem too daunting because you've already started digging here. It felt like at one point it was working. You've accumulated a certain amount of pride in how far you were able to dig, but sometimes the best thing is to just stop and come out. And so the first step is encouraging you to come out and exit all things that are not working for you. Now, I'm sure you caught it, but if you didn't, the example was an analogy for your relational experience. The gold is the relationship that you want. The dig in this general area is the world. We're in a culture where the tagline for dating is shop around till you find what you like, keep dating till you figure it out. And then there's you. You've been digging yourself into a hole, doing the same things and unwilling to come out until now. This is a mass exit of your current way of thinking and operating. I want you to consider a few things in line with this. What would it look like to close all old chapters that no longer produce a good harvest in your life? Cutting off all points of access to you by people or things that drain you psychologically, emotionally, energetically. Consider implementing boundaries on what and who you allow into your space. Consider closing out all apps and forums that have you obsessing and rehearsing and romanticizing a perversion of love. May this be an exit out of all wayward conversations that really have no purpose. It's an exit from what's around you that is taken from you for so long and has created more deficits than benefits when it comes to you and your fulfillment. Finally, I want you to repeat after me. I know it's kind of corny, but do it anyway. I must complete the past. I commit to receiving closure, even if the person or experience I want closure from is unwilling to or simply cannot provide it. I will resolve within myself that all past experiences that have gone long past its expiration date in my mental real estate and within the confines of my soul can no longer stay. They must exit. And then I got one more for you. I forgive. I'll pause right there. I forgive anyone who I've allowed to hurt me. I forgive all parties that were associated with my dating and relational discomfort. The past is simply that, the past. It has no claim to my future. I am no longer willing to be a doormat for pain, hopelessness, and disappointment to walk all over me. It's time for my true rebrand, and it starts on the inside. All right, that's it for this video. Let me know in the comment section what you think about step 1. And if this is a step that you've been considering for a while, tell us if the needle has now moved in any direction and why. And if you're someone who wants to take things a step further and go deeper, make sure to check out the next video. And if you're someone who's really looking for some tangible application, click the link in the description. I've got a workbook that you can follow along with every step of the way. And finally, if you like what you see, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can see when I upload something new. Until next time, folks, I love you. God loves you more. Peace.